This week, we're living in a Silksong world. Join us for our first impressions of Hollow Knight Silksong, our reaction to the Life is Strange TV show announcement, and impressions on Lost Soul Aside and Yakuza 6 2 on this week's HGO Podcast. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the HGO Podcast. I'm one of your hosts today, Ethan, and joining me, as always, is my good friend Hunter. Hey, Hunter, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just swell.
He's going to be carrying the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, because I am a wreck. I am, dead. I don't know what happened. I don't know if the release of Silksong caused a virus to just spring up from the earth.
But... fever, and you're not even playing it.
Dude, that's what I'm... I'm the only one that isn't, right? It's like you guys got the antibodies from playing it. I didn't, and now I've got the Silksong plague. It's crazy. Dude, I'm absolutely just dead. I don't know what it is. It feels like it's just a cold, but it's just like, my God, it just is destroying me. I didn't even I'm not gonna lie, I'm just wearing my audio listeners, if you're not looking at my horrible face right now. I'm just wearing my top that I would just use, my shirt that I usually wear to bed. I didn't even get dressed because I was just dude, this is just what it is. This is just, I'm here, I'm ready to talk. I've got to do, we're here to talk Silksong, but man, I'm barely holding on. So apologies if Hunter is talking for the most part for this episode, which I'm sure most of you will be like, thank God for that. He's finally going to shut up. But hey, Silksong's here, ladies and gentlemen. Can't sleep, can't be ill for Silksong. I haven't played it, but I'll guide you along the way because Hunter has. He's seen the promised land.
I have.
So we'll talk all about that. We're also going to be talking about the announcement of the Life is Strange 2 television show, because I'm sure you want to hear about that, because we've got some thoughts. Hunter will be continuing his Lost Soul Aside impressions, and I've been playing Yakuza 6, so if that all sounds up your alley, you're in for a treat. Bit of housekeeping, obviously, hotgamesonly.com. Plenty of stuff going up there. There'll be reviews coming up soon. I'm sure Kyle might have an article coming up at some point in the near future as well, as it's a new month, so keep your eyes out on that. And thank you for the support on the podcast. As always, we appreciate it quite a bit, especially as we get into more video games, more reviews and all that jazz. So if you enjoy what you're hearing or seeing, then hey, a follow or subscribe on your favourite podcast service or at youtube.com would be greatly appreciated. Thank you in advance. I'm not going to beat around the bush, Hunter. I'm just going to get straight to it because, everybody and their mum is doing a podcast about it. Everybody and their mum has listened to a podcast about it. Why not join in on the fun? Hollow Knight Silksong is here.
It sure is.
It is a video game. It's a $20 video game, which a lot of people are, having a debate about, because for some reason that's something that we have to do. But
I mean, I don't understand why there would be a debate. I can understand why you'd be kind of surprised, but that's what the price is. That's what the price is,
I think the debate is I think a lot of indie games in recent years, I'd say especially since COVID, 2021, 2022, have slowly shot their prices up, where now indie games, 2015, 2016, most indie games would be roughly priced between $10 and $25. That's where I would usually sit most indie games, 90% of indie games, right?
Yeah.
And now I feel like 25 has kind of become the budget, and it's 25 to 40. And now I think a game like Silksong, so anticipated, coming back in and being under what most budget indies are now charging, there's a lot of people that I think that were planning on charging $40 for a video game. They're like, what do we do? And my answer to that is, there have been a lot of games recently that have been charging more than I think they have been worth. So who knows? Maybe
Hi, Mario Kart.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm not even just talking about indies. I'm talking about everybody in general, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's the issue. And, I think people should be paid what they're worth. But also, I feel like there has been a trend recently for everything going up. So it's nice for having Silksong come out and be a really anticipated thing and to be very affordable for everybody. I think that's pretty cool. And yeah, I think Team Cherry are doing a good job.
They could have gotten away with 40 or even
easily.
more, maybe, but I think it's cool that they were just like, oh, 20 is good. We're pretty set on the. They seem to, by all the articles about this game's development, they seem to be pretty set on the money that they get from the first game.
And if they
So
weren't then, they are now because there's only three of them,
yeah,
and it's just literally as we speak, the concurrent player data for just Steam alone is 589,000. So yeah, and I don't know. To me, obviously, I think Silksong will have a massive PC community, but Switch is going to be huge as well. I think Switch will be the biggest platform in terms
yeah, it
of
was
like
like
consoles, 100%.
yeah, it was huge because the first one was huge on the Switch. I think it was it was like one of the big things on like the whole year one
Yeah, yeah,
indie push.
totally. And then you've got Game Pass as well. This is all people that have paid money. And then you've got the Game Pass money that they've probably rolled in because that deal probably wasn't cheap for Microsoft to get Silksong day one. So, yeah,
Not to
loads,
mention all the marketing that rights that they must have bought or whatever.
which is the most pointless marketing rights to ever buy because Silksong just kind of advertises itself.
Yeah, I know. It's silly.
But yeah, anyway, it's out. It's here. It's $20, whether you like it or not. Uh, Hunter, where are you playing it?
I am playing it on the PlayStation, as I am one to do.
Bold choice,
Oh.
bold choice. Because I was sitting there because I'm like, obviously, um, for reasons I don't know how many people know this, but if you've ever reviewed a video game, you may know that one of the things in a lot of NDAs is that you have to set your account to private. Um, so Hunter's got all of his stuff on private because whenever he gets a review code, he doesn't have to set it, which is annoying for me because when I want to peep at his
Oh,
game
that's
list,
right.
I can
That's right.
never
I
peep.
just always forget to switch it back.
Yeah, or just let me in. Just let your friends in. Dude. Let me in. You can set
Dude,
it
you can
so strangers
ask.
can't see. But so I was trying to figure it out. So I'm
Well,
like, okay, I can see his Switch account. He's not playing it on Switch. I can't see his Steam because his Steam's also private for the exact same reason. So I'm just gonna guess that he's playing it on PlayStation. I mean, fair enough. My Steam is also private for the exact same reason. It's just because it's too much effort to go and change the setting every time I'm reviewing something. So I'm just
oh
like,
yeah,
just keep
especially
it.
for Steam where I wouldn't be able to remember how to set it back.
Yeah, I don't use Steam enough to care, dude. I think I've got it so that
Yeah.
my friends can see what I'm playing, but if it's private, I don't care. Sony, it's harder because of trophies and stuff like that. Wanting to check all of that stuff, it's a bit harder. But yeah, so you're playing it on PlayStation. How much time have you put into Silksong so far? Would you say?
I would say I've put like anywhere between 5 to 7 hours, I think.
To a good chunk.
Yeah, respectable distance. I'm in like the fourth area, I want to say.
Nice.
Yeah.
And the TLDR for people who don't know, Hollow Knight Silksong is it still a prequel to the original?
I knew the lore at one point as far as where it was in the story, but I have since forgotten. I think it's still a prequel. It feels like something that happened beforehand, but honestly, I could be wrong. I'm not super locked
I'm
down on that
90%
part.
sure it was a prequel. But anyway, you're playing as Hornet, who is a character from the original Hollow Knight.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, recurring like boss character that had one of the main people you'd be interacting with throughout the story.
Mm-hmm. And it's a prequel story about her. So Hunter, I'm gonna throw it over to you because my throat is wanting to, you know, die. How are you finding it? How are you feeling with Silksong after this arduous wait?
Well, in defense of that, I haven't been waiting quite as long. I played the first one in like 2021. It was just out of like curiosity mostly, and assuming that, I assumed that I'd have a shorter window of time until Silksong got here
You're like,
to
oh
finish
yeah,
it,
yeah,
but
yeah. I'm playing it now. All those nerds that played it in 2018. Now I'll get to play it soon when the Silksong's still waiting. You literally played it at like the halfway point of the waiting.
which I mean, I would have played it if there wasn't another game coming anyway, just because of how that happened to go. But yeah, I've been finding it all right. I thought that I really liked the first one. A lot of people, it's one of the first things people will say is like one of the best indies out there, and for the game it's trying to be, I would say that is true. Uh, and I think this game is so far more of that. I can see the ways in which it improves upon that. Hornet as a character and the way she feels as opposed to the knight from the first game, they've got a different flow. I like the tool set I'm being given a little bit more so far. Like she's got this cool little I just unlocked this cool little floaty jump that, you can jump on air currents and float and whatnot that I like. Her diagonal little her angled stab from the air is nice as opposed to just the little bouncy bounce that you could do. Well, I don't know. I kind of miss the bouncy bounce in some cases, but
The
you know,
Scrooge McDuck little pogo.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I kind of miss that in some cases because it was a little easier to get like straight down.
They've changed Scrooge
But
McDuck to Castlevania kind of move sets here. I'm like, oh, what a
yeah,
shame.
but it takes some getting used to. But I've been enjoying it so far. I think that for the purposes of the game, like the way they lay out the first area, I would argue that it might be a little better at easing you into things than the first one was, as far as navigationally anyway, where like I played the first game and didn't really have that much problems like looking around, but I had a brother that started it at the same time and apparently didn't know where to go an hour in.
I was
And I
the
was
exact same way. The only time I ever played Hollow Knight was, I'd like to say it was around the similar time as you, if not maybe slightly earlier, about 2020, 2021. I bought it on Switch and I played it for about an hour and I just couldn't figure out where to go. I was just wandering around in circles, and you know me, Hunter, I'm not the biggest fan of Metroidvanias, even at the best of times. But just the idea of not, I felt like I was achieving nothing, and it's one of those, it's one of those very simple things where if the dopamine is not hitting, if I'm not feeling like I'm making any progress whatsoever, I was just like, I don't want to play this video game where I'm just looking at a guide because I feel like that defeats the point of these kinds of games. But I'm not getting
yeah.
the dopamine that I want from a video game, so I'm gonna stop for now and I'll come back to it eventually. I've never gone back. I do intend to eventually, still, but so yeah, I can 100% understand that kind of criticism. I know
Yeah.
it's a criticism that people do have of Hollow Knight. Is it's a bit of a it's got a bit of a learning curve to it. Let's put it that way. Um,
Yeah. And I would say that, yeah, navigationally, I think Silksong eases you in a bit more, where the first area is relatively straightforward. And then I haven't felt lost at all yet, really, aside from like get into an area where I don't have a map for yet. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go all the way across the bottom as far as I can go, and then I'll work my way back through all the branches and whatnot. But that's also just happened to me in Area 4 so far, so it's not like I haven't hit a wall at all yet. Yeah. Um, I like the boss battles so far. Those have been the couple I've got have been fun. The one of the characters I really liked, not the last one I did, but one of the characters seems to be like they're gonna be like the Hornet kind of character for the purposes of this game, where they'll probably pop up again, have a similar move set, dual kind of vibe to the fights each time, and I'm interested to see where that goes when I see them again.
how are you finding difficulty wise? I've heard from a lot of people, even Hollow Knight veterans, that they're kind of surprised that the game is rather challenging. I feel like it's
That's what
interesting.
that's what even my one of my friends who really likes Hollow Knight was telling me about that and how his brother told him that. And I was like, I haven't hit it yet, where I'm sitting there like, it doesn't feel any worse than the other one. Even even in some regards, I feel like the so far the checkpoints, like the benches, are more generous.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe I could be off because I played the first one like 4 years ago, so
Yeah.
the memories are a bit fuzzy. But I feel like the checkpoints are a bit more generous. I've been able to get to my body every time after I die. And it's like half the time I die, I'm sitting there like, yeah, whatever, because I'm not super trying to survive every encounter I come to, you know? But yeah, so I haven't hit any point where I think it's exponentially harder yet.
It's just interesting. I don't know what the best way to describe it is. I think it's more so that it feels like it picks up where the last game left off. And what I mean by that is I think a lot of people were expecting it to go back to, oh,
Oh
easy
yeah,
Hollow Knight, whereas it feels more like it's taken lessons from the late game of Hollow Knight and gone, oh, we'll just go with that from the start. And I think that's fair for a sequel for something like
yeah.
this.
I see what you mean. Doom Eternal did that, where Doom Eternal started off being, not as hard as the end of 2016 was, but close to that. And if you had just played 2016, or if you played it a lot, it'd be super great for you to, you know, because the game would be starting at your level already. I could see how maybe I could see how this could be a detriment to people trying to play this one first after buying into all of the hype, to be fair. But,
I think
you know,
it's
this is how it happens sometimes.
with a game like this, though. I think that's the way to go, to be honest, because yes, you're going to have a load of new people who are going to come in for the first time to play Hollow Knight Silksong. They are just going to skip Hollow Knight 1.
I would say one way the game expands
No,
on
he
what
can't
the
hear me.
other one did is the side quests, I feel like, were more hidden in the other game, whereas this one, they kind of just present some of them to you more, like the one town area you get to has has like a board of like a request board. So I've been like, I actually have what I need to do in mind while I'm doing it, rather than just kind of hoping I find something and hoping that it works.
Yeah, totally. Um, I can't remember what I was saying. I was saying something because you were in the abyss. For those of you who don't know, everybody,
Yeah.
Hunter has this weird thing where sometimes his internet dips, where he's still connected, but he can't hear anything that's happening. So that's why that was that weird thing where I was on one tangent and Hunter was on another. If you wondered what that was just a little bit of a glitch in the matrix there. Ignore it. I think the one thing I was going to say was relating back to that difficulty topic was I think with a game like this, it's kind of, you'll have people that are jumping on for the first time, and that's great. Come on in. The water's just fine. But I think that this kind of game is really made for fans of Hollow Knight 1. They are making this as a,
Yeah.
Thank you for being patient. It was originally supposed to be a DLC. Here's your game. So the fact that it is difficult from the start or on par with the end of Hollow Knight, I think that makes perfect sense. I wish that a lot of games would continue to do that because a lot of sequels dumb their stuff down. A game that I loved this year, absolutely adore it. Death Stranding 2. My biggest criticism with that game is it took all the rough edges of Death Stranding and sanded them bad boys off, and it just made it extremely smooth sailing. And it kind of, I was like, for new players, they were all sitting there going, I finally see the vision. And as someone who had played the original, loved the original, I was like, they kind of took some of it away. They kind of took some of the magic away. I prefer them to do this. I think it's great.
Yeah, especially if it's only like a sequel. Like, I could understand maybe getting, a couple games in and be like, okay, let's dial it back, not go too crazy with level 1 being like millennia. Or something like that. But
another great example, Hunter. Yeah, I think it is 100% based on that. Because another example I'll give is the Souls games. I think the Souls games are a great example of that. Of a lot of the times, I feel like the new games are like, oh, well, we've got Timmy over here who has played all 8 of these previous games 17 times. We've got to give him a challenge too. And I'm like, yeah, let's find that balance. And I think in some FromSoft games, I think they do an excellent job of finding that balance. And there are others where I'm like, bro, what are we doing? Like, come on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard. It's a hard job to balance this for new and returning players. It's a really hard job to do.
Especially on like the singular difficulty kind of games,
Yeah,
where it's just where it's be like, okay, we want it to be what it is, but what do we make it? I could imagine that being something that you spend a lot of time agonizing over a lot of times.
100%. I also think, though, that sometimes cheap tricks and gimmicks are not the way to ramp up the difficulty just for the sake of ramping it up.
I agree.
But I'm not going to say what, you know what I'm on about, Hunter, but I'm not going to say those magic words because as soon as I say it, a swarm of people will come and kill me. They will come to my house and they'll take my family. That's what they do. so I'll just keep quiet.
Yeah,
I'm
but yeah,
ill
like
enough. Anyway,
every death I've had so far has felt reasonably fair. Annoying maybe because I'm being spit at by a projectile guy and I'm just trying to get there and I couldn't kind of deal. But nothing where I was like, oh come on, that was stupid. I disagree.
yeah, it's such a fascinating game because it's like, to me, from a outsider looking in, one, I've got to hand it to them. Yes, they have been making this game for 8 years, but it seems to have, it's come out really polished. It really has. It just, like,
Yeah,
my God, it just seems to be. It's funny that I'm using this term because, especially with recent Nintendo releases, I haven't felt it as much. Like, I definitely with Donkey Kong and some of the games and Welcome Tour and all that. It feels like it has that almost Nintendo polish where, where you just get a game on day one and it's just fucking great, and you're just like, what is
yeah,
this? This is magic. Like, what do you mean?
yeah,
I'm not phasing through the floor instantly. I'm like, it's just got that nice, like, that polish to it where you're like, wow, that's sick. I appreciate that. You can really tell that when in the Bloomberg article they were discussing how the game's essentially been done for the past 9 months and they've just spent the final 9 months polishing it, and you can really tell. You could just,
yeah.
my God, it's
Yeah,
great.
like any game that takes that amount of time to just be like, okay, let's make sure we got this. Because, as far as my own memory stretches, this game, Tears of the Kingdom,
Yeah.
it's good company to have.
Yeah, totally, mate. Like legit. It's almost, and again, you tend to be a bit more lenient with indie games because they're usually smaller teams. So you don't, it's like a game I loved last year, Anton Blast. I think is fantastic. Um, I had plenty of bugs when I was experiencing it. I ignored them completely because I'm like, this is a small team and I'm having a great time. But the fact that this is such a small team and it is also pretty much flawless from the bits that I've seen, I'm like, fair play.
Yeah, it's
Can't
impressive
knock it.
for
Can't
sure.
knock it. But it just, from an outsider's perspective, it just, not that it's like, whether it will meet the lofty expectations of the internet psychos who have been craving this game for the past 8 years, that's, let's wait a while to see that. But from an outsider's perspective, this genuinely looks like it delivers on what at least Team Cherry were advertising this to be, which seems to be
Another one.
a bigger, a bigger, more like, refined Hollow Knight.
Yeah, like if you remove the 8 years of expectations and people, eating themselves alive over the thought of this game or how whatever they were doing in that intermittent time. Like if Silksong had come out in 2022, shortly, just a little bit after I had finished the other one, like
When
if
we
it
all
had come
thought it
out
was going to come out.
then,
Yeah.
I would be like, this delivers. If I had only just played Hollow Knight, a couple months ago and wasn't waiting for 8 years, I would think that this delivers, unless it somehow kick flips the rake midway through the game or something.
Which
But I
I
don't think
doubt.
that's going to happen. I feel like that will not be the case.
Yeah. It's, it's interesting. I think, again, the thing that I love about it is I think Team Cherry have handled the release of this game in the best way they possibly could. Show a trailer, release it in 2 weeks, don't give it to anybody early, just let everybody experience it. It's very rare we get a game like this. I think, I can't even remember the last time we probably got a game like this where it's like no one has had access to this video game. Legitimately no one.
Right.
People are sitting there, they're speculating on forums, they're trying to figure it out together. It just feels like, even though I'm
Like
not a
I think
part of
some
it,
of
it just
the
feels like a old
Kickstarter
school
backers
release.
got it a little early, like a day early, maybe,
They
if I
didn't.
remember
They
correctly.
didn't get
No,
it. No. They didn't. No one got it early, which I think is
that's
crazy.
funny.
They got free codes for it, but
Oh, okay. I must have been conflating that then.
so it's just the beauty of that, just to be able to have everybody, because you can. It's just nice to not be there day one and have an IGN guide already fully written, uploaded, a PSN profiles power picks trophy guide there for everybody that's thinking about it. And I know
Or
for a
like a
lot of
week
those,
before
yeah, It's just
or like a week
nice.
beforehand of people like inundating you with your opinions of this thing that you haven't got to play yet, you know?
Yeah, and I don't know. No. We have we've not done that many we've not done that many early reviews of video games, but it really is a different feeling to be playing a game that you know nobody else has played and trying to figure shit out. It is just there's just such a different feeling to it. And it's like when you're so plugged into the world of video games like we are, it's hard to not go into something without knowing at least something about it, right? It's like I'm a huge Persona fan. My hope for Persona 6 is as soon as that bad boy is announced, I'm on media blackout. I'm ignoring that shit for the until I play it because I just want to go in as lit. But things will crawl into my something will show up on my feed. I'll learn something that I don't want to learn, and there's a load of, most normal people, they just, they get this blind experience because they're not doing this. So it's nice to just have this as like a hardcore audience in this, the people who have been waiting for this game for so long to just be chucked a game and go, have fun, figure it out. You can't
Yeah.
look up anything because IGN hasn't had a copy of it yet. Go to town. It's cool. I like it. I wish more games kind of did it. But it's interesting because I don't think many games could do it. There's only like,
Yeah,
in my head, it's this. GTA 6 could probably do it if they were bold enough. They won't, but they could.
the next big Zelda game probably
The next
could.
big Zelda game, very few games can do it. So it's cool.
That's like a thing in like the internet commentary IGN review culture where it'd be like, oh, they didn't give codes away, that means they're not confident in it, blah blah blah. Kind of deal where it was that would be a demonstrably false argument this time because you'd have to be stupid to have been saying that before the
Yeah,
game those 2 weeks in between.
totally. It's nice though.
Uh,
I like it. It's something that I wish we got more of. I understand that we won't, but there's a meta game
yeah,
behind everything, and to just not have that there, to not go, okay, review codes was it's like Ghost of Yote, where it's like, oh, Sony's done the classic. They've sent the game out a month before the game's coming out, so they're pretty confident about it. They did
yeah,
the same with Astrobot last year. They're similarly confident about Ghost of Yote. Just little metagame things like that, where I'm just like, dude, I'd just love to get there on the day. No fuck all about it. That'd be my dream. That's what my dream is. My dream, Hunter, is to not do a podcast, ignore everything, and go back into the cave and just get chucked games down there. Every so often someone just comes by and just chucks something at me, and I go, oh, okay. That's what I want. But the children yearn for the mines. Dude, that's what we mine for.
yeah.
A good time. But no, it doesn't surprise me that you like Silksong because I had zero kind of. There was not a part of my body that thought that when this game came out that it wouldn't be good.
Yeah, it's great. And like, if you didn't like the other one, you're not gonna like this one. It doesn't change anything dramatically in that way, which it shouldn't have, I don't think.
100%. I
And they
think
clearly
that,
didn't need
yeah,
to.
they
Look at where
don't.
it's got them now.
No, like no one needs to change for anything really. It's like your audience. You're going for that audience. You're doing a great job. Like that's exactly what you need to do. There are so many games nowadays, Hunter, that just try to get everybody on board. You know what I mean? Where it's just like they try and do everything, and in the end, they end up doing nothing particularly well.
Yeah, it's always a
Where
bummer.
it's just focus and specialize. They've not turned it into an open world. They've not done any random shite. They've just made a successor to Hollow Knight. And hey, that's pretty cool. I assume you recommend it, but
I do, yeah.
so does everybody on the internet, I believe. Like I say, I think the numbers speak for themselves. Nobody has. There's no, like I say, I'm the only person that probably hasn't bought it. So I was tempted. The FOMO nearly got to me, Hunter. The FOMO nearly got to me. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
these 500,000 people, I should at least, on Steam, maybe should I join them? At least own it. And I'm like, no. I love you, Team Cherry. I vibe with what you do. I will buy it eventually, but we'll see. We'll see. I also
Hold
have
out for
Game
that
Pass. I do have it
physical version.
downloaded. Yeah, that physical version.
Yeah.
That's a good shout. Physical's a good shout. I do like a physical version, Hunter. Will it be on a Game Keycard though? That's the question.
I don't think they will. The
Did you
game's like 5
see?
gigabytes.
Yeah, true. Did you see the? This is a little bit of a tangent before we move on to our second topic. There was like the Star Wars Outlaws devs mentioned the reason why they're on a game key card was
I didn't
because.
see this. No.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I can do this really quick. So, Star Wars Outlaws came out on Switch last week. Surprisingly, a competent port, which is
Huh.
good to see from a Ubisoft. Good job. Yeah, apparently it's pretty solid. It looks pretty good. It runs at 30 FPS, obviously, and there's some obvious hiccups with it, but you know, for it's one of those magic ports where it's like we're surprised you're getting this to work, and it's working really well. And the reason they give for it being on a Switch, being on a game keycard, is because the read speeds on the regular Switch cartridges are too slow. They wouldn't be able to do it because the SSDs on PS5 and Xbox Series. So that's the reason. So there you go. It turns out that it's not just for, well, to be fair, it's Ubisoft. They would have used a game keycard either way. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's at least a little reason behind it that Hunter will never hear, because he has definitely done his little trip to the Shadow Realm again, where he's gone into the void and will not hear a single word I say. You back yet, Hunter? No? He looks bored as hell. Is he back? Hello?
I muted my microphone while I was throwing my drink around, and I forgot to undo that.
Oh, I thought you
But I
went
can hear
into.
you
I
again.
thought you went into the black hole of the abyss. I didn't
I
think you heard
did.
any of
That
it.
also
Oh,
happened. I
okay,
was like,
cool.
"That's great." He was pulled up something to tell me about, and I can't hear it.
Yeah,
Amazing.
the TLDR was the reason it's on a game keycard is because the read speeds of the cartridges are too slow compared to the
What?
SSD. Yeah, the SSD is way quicker than the read card, the memory that they've decided to put in Switch 2 cards. So when porting a PS5 Series X game, the way that they stream data doesn't work for the speeds of the key card, so they've had to move it to internal memory. My response to that would be, can't you make it so that the whole game is on the cart, but it copies over to the system memory instead of it being a weird half and half? But that's a
Yeah,
Nintendo
like
thing, I guess.
how they do
The PS5 discs, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, more you know. It wasn't just the game couldn't physically run from a cartridge, is basically what they were saying. So, there you go. Anyway, let's talk about something that's a terrible idea. Well, game cue cards are also a terrible idea. So, but you know, anyway, topic number 2. Life is Strange TV show has been announced. Finally, this thing's been in and out of production for like the past decade. Will it happen this time? I fucking hope not. This is being made by Amazon Prime, which, hey, I will give it to them. Out of the slop factories that do exist, Amazon Prime is one of the least offensive.
Yeah, like I normally only hear about them when they're doing something good.
They did a great job with Fallout.
Yeah.
They have done a great job with obviously stuff like The Boys and Invincible. They've got some good, you know, IP that they have been adapting. But anyway, Life is Strange TV series is coming from Charlie Covell, who, if you don't know who she is, which you probably don't, she was the writer of a Netflix series called The End of the Effing World. We don't swear on this podcast, so I will not say the true name. Which was a very well received TV show. So it was a very well received TV show. It's kind of one of those things though, where she's done a couple of other things afterwards, and it's not quite hit the same. And now she's doing this, but this seems to be in her wheelhouse, because that at the end of the fucking world is very similar to Life is Strange. So it seems to be in her wheelhouse anyway. But the TLDR is they've been trying to get this made for like the past decade, and it seems like Amazon is finally the one to take the bite. The reason I mainly wanted to bring this up is because we've been having these comments. I had this conversation with you. I had this conversation with a friend who is also a fan of Life is Strange. And I think we're all just of the opinion that this is a terrible idea.
Yeah. It's one of those things, right? Like, it seems like Life is Strange would also exist as like a goofy CW teen drama. But
which is probably what this is going to be. Yeah.
Yeah, but am I gonna like watching it like that? Probably not.
No, it's weird, right? Because it's like, how do you like that's the problem that I have with this Hunter is how do you do it? How do you do it? Because there's a lot of things, right? I'm not gonna lie. I've sat there
This-
in my free time before Hunter, and I'll just sit there and think about stuff like this, where I'm like, I don't know if anybody else ever does this, or if this is just a weird ADHD thing, where sometimes I'll just be like, if they did make a Life is Strange live action adaptation, how would you go about it, or how would I go about it if I was in that kind of position? I've had those thoughts because I'm weird like that, and I just always sit there and I go, on paper it's possible to do it, and I think it's on paper it's possible to do a good job of it. However, you have this little problem with it, which I like to call the Life is Strange fan base. And don't get me wrong, I love Life is Strange. I think the fan base for the most part is pretty chill, but I think the thing about a franchise like Life is Strange, which is very, it's very progressive. It very much is welcoming to and is very much made for a specific audience of people. Is the issue that you have surrounding it is, especially in a choice-based game, is their choices become the canon. And it's like, I think that it's like, one, the relationship between Chloe and Max is very important, and this entire show will either rise or fall because of that dynamic. It just will. That is what will be the success or the failure of this TV show. And I think it's very important that you get it right. But also, again, spoilers for Life is Strange. If you've not played Life is Strange, skip to the next timestamp because it's been like, what, a decade now at this point? I feel like it was 2015. I feel like it's safe to talk about this video game now. Like, dude, if we were doing this 10 years ago, we'd be talking about, guys, please make sure you've played. I'm going to spoil Ratchet and Clank 3. That's what the point where we're doing at this, right? Leave me alone. You've got that ending. And a lot of the Life is Strange community are very attached to Chloe. Whereas, in my, from a lot of, from my perspective, and I know you agree, I think that even if you play Max, which I think, is the correct way to play Max, is, they're in, very much in this weird relationship and something is forming, right? It's been a week. Calm down. But yeah, obviously, they very much care for each other. And I still think the correct answer is for Chloe to die at the end. I still believe it because narratively it makes sense.
Chloe could be my favorite character in the game, and I would still let her go.
Dude, I think the narrative is more powerful when you do that because it's like the whole narrative for me of Life is Strange is time is catching up. Time catches up to everything. It doesn't matter how many choices it doesn't matter how many deviations Max makes. It doesn't matter how much she tries to run away from the set course of events. Time will always catch up with her. Is the idea that I always get behind the narrative, because every time she makes a choice, every time she uses her powers to change history, it fucks up. Everything fucks up. So the idea is to me, that's the most powerful ending, is having to let go of somebody that she's only just got back and really cares for, having to let go of that for the greater good, to save this whole town. And yeah, it's full of people that she doesn't like, but it's also full of people that she really does care about. I think a lot of people go, oh, but there's a load of arseholes. I'm like, yes, there is, but there is a load of good people in Arcadia Bay as well.
Look me in the eyes and tell me that Kate Marsh deserves to die and you cannot be trusted.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's interesting because, again, I think you've got two options. They can do that ending, and a lot of the fan base that really want Chloe to live are going to get angry. And if you don't do that, I think you're going to have a much weaker narrative, because what's the lead up? What's the build up? Because you don't have the crux of the matter is Life is Strange uses these choices, and for the most part, none of them matter, but the last one really does, to put these pins, to put these vital moments in, to make these vital choices. They become the linchpins of the game, where it's like, what did you do? Did you do this? Did you do that? How did the narrative change? You don't have that in a TV show.
Yeah.
You've got to have a strong linchpin. And to have a show end with not a choice, you just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to save you, and we're going to drive away the whole time. That doesn't feel like an ending to a TV show, does it? Like, it just...
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like you could do it well, and I think that, with this writer, it seems like they've got a decent enough track record where they could probably do it, and they could probably do a decent job. But how are the fans going to respond either way? And how are normal people going to respond either way? And also,
that's
with
the thing is,
the
like,
climate we're in as well, it's like, if this was made 5 years ago, I think it would be a slam dunk. Like, more of a...
yeah,
It'd have a much stronger chance. But, you've got a load of weirdos who are trying to basically take culture in the opposite direction, where I think we were doing pretty good for a while there, and now everybody wants to go back to... what if we just start treating minorities like dog shit again? That seems to be what the plan is from a lot of people, which I think is stupid.
yeah.
But, this is going to come out in like 2027, 2028.
Yeah, times have the chance to change again.
It has the chance to do a U-turn, but with the current stance of everything that's happening in the world, not just in America, I'd like to add, it's dire over here in Europe too. It does make me think, where I'm like, how's the public going to react to this? How's everything going to react to this? Is there going to be a big drama about it? Is there, I don't know, dude. I don't know. Maybe the answer is, Hunter, they do Life is Strange too, because that's not politically charged either.
Not at all.
Not at all. I think that'll suit the environment even better.
They could do Life is Strange 2 and just make it up. I wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
True. Maybe they should do. Maybe I'd say True Colors, but I feel like True Colors will also
but
upset
empathy
some
is a
Americans
sin
as
now,
well.
according to some people.
True. They're just kind of fucked, aren't they?
Yeah.
I wish them well. I really do. There'd be nothing more that I would love in this world than to have a good Life is Strange adaptation. I mean, to go, wow, that was pretty good. Because I think it's like, this is like the gap that they have to, like, it's about that big for them to swerve through and get a clear landing. And if they do, it'd be great, because it would make a good TV show. It would, if in theory. I just don't know if I trust them to fully fly through. There's so many things, dude. There's so many things. And it doesn't matter. You're going to annoy somebody. You're going to annoy somebody. And I think that's hey, if there was one piece of advice I could give Prime, if there's one piece of advice I could give Charlie Carvel, it's, you're going to annoy you're going to annoy like 50% of the fan base either way. With whatever you do, you're going to annoy 50% of the fan base. Go where you think the good narrative is. I don't care if you think that, hey, saving Chloe is actually the better choice and this is why, and that's what you truly believe, go for it. But go for it not because you're scared of Twitter or you're scared of the fan base. Go for it because that's what you think the narrative needs to lead you. Go with the narrative. Fuck off the fan base is what I'm basically saying. Piss everybody off if it makes a good show. Like, genuinely, if it makes a good show, piss everybody off. I don't care.
See,
but I don't want you to just sit there and go, oh, the fan base loves this, so it's just this, and then, because that's when you end up with dog shit. That's when you end up with, like, Marvel Phase 4, like, where it's just like, oh, what will the fans like? Narrative? Pff, we don't need one of them.
I think what I was saying the other day was that I think we have the higher chance of getting what we want because it is narratively the better one. So, like, regular people would probably like it more.
Just think of the Emmys. That's what I'm thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's the Emmy bait right there. Is the depressing goodbye. Again,
also,
full spoilers.
TV shows love breaking their audience's heart.
Yeah, exactly. And full spoilers for Life is Strange. I'm sorry. What makes more sense of an ending is Chloe and Max driving away as the town behind them gets obliterated by a tornado, or the final scene being Max in the graveyard next to Chloe's grave with the butterfly flying by as it fades to black. I know what sounds like the better ending to a TV show, personally.
I know what's the harder shot to end on, yeah.
Also, listen to this, guys. Hear me out. This is where the ADHD, Ethan's done this before in his head, kicks in, right? Hey, Charlie, call me up. I've already thought about this for way too long before this announcement. Do the prequel, dude. That's where
I'll do the prequel first.
that's where you not even prequel first, right? Do the
Intermittently?
kill Chloe and then come back with the prequel and then break their hearts again. That's what I think you should do, is break their hearts again. That's what I genuinely think you should do, and then you make it expand and obliterate it before the storm. You make it go all the way up to the end and literally have it be like one concurrent thing, and then break their hearts twice. It works better if you do the prequel afterwards because you can break their hearts twice. You know what I mean? Like then you can get them attached a second time. Anyway, I'm free for consultations. You know where to find me. It's here where I bitch about it when it comes out. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see. What favorite show of ours what favorite game of ours will they turn into a TV show or movie next? Let's find out. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
One thing I will say, at least it's not a fucking Naughty Dog project, you know what I'm saying? Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
About time. They're running out of them, to be fair. What are they going to do? A Jack and Daxter fucking TV show? No. No one cares about Jack and Daxter. Especially at Naughty Dog.
I don't know. I feel like 15 years ago, that could have been a decent cartoon.
Dude, we said that about Sly, and it never happened. They were making it.
Well, I mean, all of them could have been decent cartoons, I think, but,
100%.
it just didn't happen.
I do think it's interesting that a lot of, there are a lot of companies right now who are trying to, it seems like video games are going to be the next comic books. That this is the new genre film that people are going to, and TV show, people, we need new IP. Oh, here's some successful video game IPs, some that work, some that don't, whatever.
Yeah.
Which I've got to say, when I heard they were doing a Fallout show, I thought that'd be absolute garbage, and it's actually turned out amazing. So, I'll shut up, because when it works, it works.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be a more case-by-case basis for me than
100%.
where, I hit a threshold with comic book movies where I'm just like, I'm done now.
And it's also not going to always be it's always not going to be it's always not going to be a surefire bet. Like, Last of Us Season 1 was fantastic. Last of Us Season 2, not very good. Which I think is interesting. I think that I there's always a part where Hollywood has to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like Season 1 of Last of Us, I felt like it was Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann just going, we want to make a really good version of this story. And they did. And then it feels like second season was, that show was really popular. We are a Hollywood executive. Can we butt in, please? Yes. Let's do it. Like, can we have it? Can we make part 2 like 3 seasons? And can we ignore what Neil Druckmann wants to say and just go with what Craig's ideas are because he's the TV guy? Let's do that. Oh my god, did I just defend Neil Druckmann on this podcast? There's a first time for everything, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on.
Join us again when Intergalactic comes out to see
I'll be like
violent retribution in the other direction.
Nah, dude, here's the thing. I have my problems with Neil and his writing at times, but I don't hate the guy. Like, I'm not weird like the internet is. I just, I like a lot of the stuff he does as well. It's a mixed bag, isn't it? It's a mixed bag. Anyway, Uncharted 4 is fantastic. I love Uncharted 4. It's great. Should have been Game of the Year instead of Overwatch. And this is coming from someone that's put like 6 years into Overwatch. Anyway, Lost Soul aside, Hunter, we kind of brought it up last week. You hadn't played that much of it. The kind of impressions that we got from last week was it certainly was a video game.
Yeah.
You've now had more time with it.
I have. I'm not all the way done with it. If it was a reasonable game, I would have been finished with it. But this game is longer than it should be, sadly, and that's one of the main things that's part of its plight here is it's paced like dog water. Let me tell you.
I'm shocked.
Yeah. Like, it's a hack and slash game that exceeds like 12 hours. That's not good.
Yeah.
I don't like, you just shouldn't do that. It's counterintuitive to the kind of game you're making. The story in general, like, I thought, like, I don't hate it, but it's not complementary to the game and what they're doing.
Yeah.
So that's working against it. as far as that goes, back to the pacing thing, the level design is not great in that regard either, because you'll go through. There's basically two genres of level here. You'll have the kind of outdoor environments of things where you're going through what seems to be, a decently designed area, and then you go into like what the story calls the alternate dimension, or
Yeah.
something to that effect, where it's just the boring metal brutalist kind of you've seen it a million times with like the depths of Mementos or the astral plane and astral chain, that thing.
Yeah.
And that takes just as long as getting there for each one of these parts. It's so
Excellent.
stupid. The number of times I'd hear Arena, the dragon guy that's, helping you and giving you all your powers and all that, say, oh, the soul fragment is just up ahead or whatever. You get to a boss that's just a bigger, just a redressed version of something I already fought like hours ago. That wasn't the one that had the soul fragment. Keep going. He's saying it's still just up ahead. Get to another boss that takes too long to kill because this is the way the boss fights are paced in this game.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't the one either. It's
Classic.
The main issue I have, I would say, is that aside from the pacing, the game it feels or it looks cooler than it feels to play.
Which is
Like
never a good thing.
no, because like at the fundamental level, it is a competent hack and slash game. I like fighting like the smaller units and in like where you're just kind of stunting on people while you're doing your thing. When they give you the bigger things that take a million years to kill, the boss fights, the movesets for those aren't very interesting. They take too long to get the fight done. And there are several instances where it'd be like, oh, you're sitting there, if you take off a health bar and then they run off. And you gotta go through another segment of their boring level design. Because this always happens in the alternate dimension to get to the next part of the fight, which was mostly the same.
Yeah. It just the game to me, for better or worse, we had this discussion yesterday where it feels like a game out of its era.
Yeah.
And I think
very much
that,
a game out of time.
I think, with a couple of hours, like you said, you played it for like, a handful of hours last week. There's a bit of a charm to it.
Yeah.
And then
some
eventually
hope.
you have to actually play the entirety of the rest of the video game. You go, worn off now.
Yeah. Because like to an extent, I like the characters. I think that the rapport between Kaiser and Arena is fun. Yeah, I would like them substantially more if the game ended at hour 12.
Yeah.
And the story just kind of keeps going, and I'm like, why is it taking this long to get? I still have 2 fragments to get, and I'm pretty sure there's only 1 chapter left. I don't get it.
Yeah. That's when you find out there's a
But
secret epilogue that's 3 chapters long.
and I will say no thank you, because I've done that to better games.
Yeah,
But
I don't know. It feels like I don't know how to feel about it, to be honest. Looking at OpenCritic right now, as we stand, it's sitting at a 63.
that feels a little harsh. Not like egregious, like leave the poor man alone kind of thing, but Drag X Drive has a 64, and that physically hurts you to play after a while.
I'm not joking. My chair, which I've had this chair's pretty new, right? I got a new office chair like a couple of months ago. Not a cheap purchase. I still have scratches on this fucking chair from where I was playing Drag X Drive for an hour and a half. So it will forever live with me until I replace this chair, which hopefully will be a long, long time. Yeah, it feels a bit harsh, but also, I don't know, Hunter. I feel like I'm getting to that era where I'm like, maybe we should be harsher. And not by the saying, oh yeah, by today's standards it's not a 63. But I'm saying that it should be a 63, and we need to move standards down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Let's move standards down a little bit. Move the scale down. I'm fine with moving the scale down a little bit.
I mean, yeah, I would be
Give Drag
more
X Driver 48, dude. That's where we should be sitting. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
I would be more agreeable to the numbers that you see if you know, the other things around it made sense. It was like the year that Ghostwire Tokyo came out and, you know, got like a 77, and then the Callisto Protocol came out and was it like a 68. I'm like, the Callisto Protocol's a better game than that one. Come on, not by much, but be reasonable here.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's obviously we're a part of the problem here, but you know, it's like we do live in a world where it's like, you know, you don't get anything under a 60. You very rarely get something under a 60. If it's under a 60, then like you've done something. You've committed some form of war crime when releasing this video game. So it's pretty low compared to, you know, if you get looked at other 63 games, but hey, it's a weird one, dude. It's a weird one. I feel for the devs. They've been working on it a long time. And who knows, maybe they've said that they're in it for the long haul, so maybe you'll see maybe they'll do some improvements and, you know, work it up a little bit.
Maybe they'll come back. That's the thing, is like back in 2017 or whenever, you know, the first previews of the thing popped off, that was kind of where the hack and slash genre was in a bit of a slump, you know. Devil May Cry was absent for a while. Bayonetta 2 was 3 years beforehand at that point, and without those two, there pretty much wasn't anything else at the time, you know.
Totally.
So I could see how this would have jazzed people up a little bit. And now, you know, in the past couple of years, Devil May Cry came back, for better or worse. Bayonetta 3 came out, Stellar Blade, etc.
Yeah. It's like I say, it's very it's a very interesting game. It feels out of its time, but hey, it's there. If you want to give it a try, be my guest. I don't know. I feel like hey, if you do feel like giving it a try, maybe just wait a little while. I feel like this is a game that you'll find relatively cheap, especially on Black Friday.
Yeah.
Get to that point of the year.
I will say, to some extent, though, I was at the dollar store the other day, like picking up a case of water.
Yeah.
Saw the games. I saw the cover of the game next to like one of the other, like next to like Astrobot on the buy a PSN gift card or something. I'm like, huh. Well, fancy that.
Dude, you know, Sony's got like about 2 games to their name at this point, so yeah, it makes sense that they're at least they'll take anything at this stage. They'll take anything. But hey, there you go. Lost Soul Aside, ladies and gentlemen. Let's wrap this up with what was it? Yakuza 6. Oh yeah, I've been playing Yakuza still. I've been carrying on, dude. I don't learn my lessons, dude. I played one Yakuza game for like 36 hours, and I was like, there was a part of me that was like, I want to carry on. Not because I'm like, I can't wait for the next installment, but because I was like, I'm one off of finishing the Kiryu Kazuma arc. You know, Yakuza 0 through 6, that's his arc. Even though there's more games afterwards, which I know about, but, you know, in theory, this was, you know, the arc. So I was like,
you'll basically be caught up.
Yeah, I was like, well, that's what I feel like, is I've done most of the homework. Because no offense to Like a Dragon, I'm never going to play, like, the Gaiden spin-off, or, you know, like, I don't care about historical Yakuza. I don't care about stuff like that. So in my head, I'm like, I'll play Judgment and Lost Judgment, but this basically, after this, then it's just the 2 Judgments, and then 7 and 8. And, and Like a Dragon Gaiden, and Pirate Majima, Hawaii Renaissance, whatever it's called. So I'm like, there's a lot of games left, but 2 of them are spin-offs that are probably relatively short, I assume, like 12 hours. Judgment and Lost Judgment are probably, you know, short as well. So I'm like, I'm getting there. And also, these are all new games, so I'm not playing old games anymore that don't control very well. So I'm like, I feel like I'm making an accomplishment. So I was like, I'll play Yakuza 6. And I've started it. I'm about halfway through, and my impressions of the game so far are, holy shit, thank God, I'm back to good video games in terms of gameplay, because I'm like, oh, thank God, it's like, straight away I was like, ooh, when was this out? And it's 2016. It was right after Zero. So I'm like, oh, we're back. We're back in good era again. This is the first game on the engine that they use to this day, the Like a Dragon engine. And damn, it's such a good engine, dude. Like, it looks great, but it just feels so good. Like, it's just like, I'm back to the point where in the Yakuza remastered games, the combat just doesn't do anything. It just doesn't feel good. It gets boring. It gets repetitive. A guy runs up to you, everything stops, and a splash screen comes up saying Yakuza thugs, and then you have to fight them, and then it takes forever to do anything in that video game. And you get to Yakuza 6, and it's back to how I remembered it being in, like, specifically Kiwami 2, which I love. It's my favorite gameplay wise, which was the second game that was made in this engine. So there you go. But it's just, thugs run up to you instantly into the fight straight away. No pissing about waiting for, splash screens to come up. Splash screen comes up, but it's like,
splash screen thing feels like it feels like they had the RPG tendency before they even got to that part.
Yeah, it does, genuinely. But it's like the gameplay feels snappy. It's on the easier side. It's definitely an easy video game because I'm playing it on normal and I'm having literally no issues whatsoever. But I like that. I just like, when I'm playing these kind of games where it's like a beat 'em up, I like beating people up. That's like the fun of it. I don't like the bosses blocking every single fucking move and chip damage and having 5 health bars. I just want to beat the shit out of them. And I am. And I'm having a good time doing that. It looks great. It plays great. From a narrative, it's fine. It's not the strongest narrative that I've played of these games. I feel like I'm just going to be saying that till the cows come home, really, at this stage. I feel like Yakuza 0 is where this series peaks, and I feel like it probably stays that way. But that's okay. I'm having fun. It's good again. It feels like I'm at, like, so far in my Yakuza tier list, right, previously to playing this game, I haven't finished it yet, so it might change. The story might go absolutely horrendously. But it was always like 0's the top, then 2, then 1, and then it's like sorting the dregs out. So I think I liked Yakuza 4 the most, probably out of those 3, which I think is an unpopular opinion, but we'll go with it. Then 3, then 5 is at the bottom because I just did not vibe with that game at all. I thought its story was a miss, and even though the gameplay was fundamentally better, the game was 36 hours long. What the fuck? Why do you make me suffer so long? Like, it's Lost Soul Aside syndrome, where it's like, if that game was 12 hours, it would be the best of the 3. But the fact that it went
was only
on
the Kiryu campaign or whatever.
If it was the Kiryu campaign, and maybe like if instead of 4 campaigns, it was like 2, then yeah, it probably would be. But yeah, I'd slot this probably like currently above 1, so it'd be like my number 3 so far. It's good. It's back to, you're just playing as Kiryu. It's just Kiryu's story. It's obviously trying to wrap up Kiryu and Haruka's arc. It does some weird things. The later games, I don't know if this was like the passing of the torch where the original creator and the original writers weren't as involved, but it's like some of the later stuff they do with Kiryu and his adopted daughter is not questionable, but it's just like, I just sit there and I'm like, it doesn't feel like, when you just, it doesn't feel like it's written by the same team anymore, where it's like, you can tell that it's kind of
you can
moved
tell.
on. Like in Yakuza 5, they try, they give her, like, she's wanting to be an idol and doing all this stuff. And then in this game, she's no longer obviously she's no longer an idol. And she ran away from home because of the pressure. And now she has a kid. And I'm like, oh, we're doing the teen pregnancy thing. I'm like, literally 2 seconds ago into the other game, we were doing the idol mini games. And now we've got this other thing. And I'm like, fair enough, I guess. I just sit there and I'm like, we're just playing this. Basically, half of this story so far is trying to find who the father of this kid is. Is like, that's the half of the game so far, and I'm like, fair enough. There's an interesting narrative spun around it, but I'm just like, I don't know. I don't care. I don't. I wasn't sitting there going, you know what this dynamic needs? It needs Kiryu to go to prison again and Haruka to have a son in the middle of it. Like, that's what this series needed. I'm like,
How many
No.
prison sentences is that for him now?
Oh, like 4. Like, my God. Dude, my favorite part is there's a character called Saejima that they introduced in Yakuza 4, and his whole shtick is he got sent to prison for 25 years for a crime he didn't commit. So he went to prison for 25 years, gets out in Yakuza 4. At the end of Yakuza 4, he goes back to prison to finish his sentence. So in Yakuza 5, he's in prison again. He breaks out of prison. And now at the end of Yakuza 5, going into Yakuza 6, he's gone back to prison again. I'm like, this guy can't catch a break, dude. He has been out of prison for about 3 weeks in the 5
Poor
years
guy.
I've known him. I'm like, what a guy. But yeah,
I wonder if
Kiryu...
that's just a running gag that keeps happening.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
imagine if you hear about this dude in Ichiban's games.
Yeah. It is nice, though. It is, like... It's one of those series that it just goes on for so long that it's funny when a guy comes up and you haven't seen him since, like, Yakuza 2, and you're like, oh, fuck, it's you, hello. And it's just like, the world just keeps on turning, you know? These people are still here, even if you don't see them. And I think that's kind of neat. And I hope that carries on into the Ichiban stuff, as if Ichiban ends up going to Kamurocho, you just see a random fucker that you knew, like, from Yakuza 2 or 1 or whatever. It's good stuff. I like it. I think that it definitely feels like they ran out of narrative. Like, that's what it kind of feels like. It's just like, oh, what do we do this time? We've made 6 of these bad boys. 7 if you count 0. What do we do this time? And I think what's really interesting is every game from, like, Yakuza 2 onwards is Kiryu's, like, he's left the Yakuza and he's dragged back in. And I'm like, we never really had a real game where Kiryu was just a part of the Yakuza. Like, in 0, he's not fully in it yet, and in 1, he's been sent to prison, so he's been out of the game, and he comes back and everything's in disarray, so he's not a part of it again. There has not really been a game where he is what it says on the tin. So it's like, it's very weird that you never really see that. And it's funny because all the games are like, you're the legendary Yakuza, Kiryu Kazuma, and I'm like, we're all just going off vibes.
You're just
here,
a legendary guy who was a
Yeah,
Yakuza.
You're the GOAT, but, like, I've never really seen that much of you. There's, like, a couple of scenes in 0 where he's like that, but I'm like, it's very weird that they never did that. This is me just saying, hey, there's a good gap there between Yakuza 0 and 1 where you could do a game like that if you wanted to. Just saying, you love your spin-offs. But it's very weird. But no, I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot more than 5. It's pretty good. It's also only, like, 20 hours, so I'm feeling pretty happy about that. I'm about 10 hours in, I think, so I'm pretty comfy knowing I'm over the hurdle. Like, but this is definitely the last one I'm playing this year. I can tell you that for a fact. Although Judgment is up my alley, dude. It's like Japanese Alley Noir, dude. It's kind of up my alley a little bit.
Greg Chun voices the main character.
But do I play it in English, dude? That's the question. I feel like that's the thing with Yakuza now. It's rotten. It's not rotting my brain, but it's like what's the word I'm thinking of? It has I'm hating myself because I'm forgetting the word. It has not climatized, but you know, it's like it's got me used to the
Assimilated you?
Assimilated me. That's not the word I was looking for, but it's like, check out dogs. Is it
desensitized?
Yeah. I can't think of the word. I'm gonna lose my marbles. But it's acclimatized. No. Words for like I don't know. This is what happens. Don't you hate when you like have a word on the tip of your tongue and you can't remember it, and it's just gonna be like the worst thing ever? It's just gonna sit there and fester in your habituate. That's it. That's the word I'm looking for. It's habituated me into the sub now, where it's like playing those games is with the Japanese dialogue. So when I hear, oh, they've done a dub for 0 and Matthew Mercer's playing Majima, I'm like, fuck, is he? I love Matt Mercer. He's the bestest boy. I love him dearly. But to fuck is he Majima, dude? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. I'm so used to the Japanese voices that I couldn't really live without them.
Yeah.
You know, I'm acclimatized. I'm habituated. So who knows? But I'm enjoying it. It's pretty fun. I hope I live to see the end of it. Both the franchise and also the game, because this cold, this is man flu. This is man flu, dude. I've got a bit of a sniffle and a bit of a headache, and I'm like doom and gloom.
Yeah.
Shaking my fist at the clouds, going, "Why me? Why must I suffer and no one else in this entire planet?" But hey. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Plenty of impressions, big and small. God knows what we're doing next week. I don't think there's no more games, is there, next week? We don't have more games to do.
Oh, not next week. We don't
thank
have
God
games until Silent Hill.
Oh, links are on screen right now. But hey, if you do want to keep up to date with our opinions, as we mentioned at the start of the podcast, go to the website, hotgamesonly.com. There's articles, there's reviews, there's all sorts of stuff on there. And yeah, we'll keep you up to date on the YouTube as well. So youtube.com/hotgamesonly. Feel free to subscribe if you feel so inclined. We'd greatly appreciate it. And hey, if you're listening on podcast services, leave us a follow, 5-star review, all that jazz. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. Topic episode next week. We'll see what happens though. Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll have a dig in the goodie bag and see what's happening. We'll have to see. But hey, we'll leave it there, everybody. Thank you so much for listening and watching this week. We'll be back same time, same place next week for more. But until then, have an awesome week. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Toodaloo.